They just want you to sit in your chair and go hip hip hooray for the Western press and the Western narrative, regurgitating the same old, same old, same old every single day without the stop. Please watch the first series, the first 2 episodes, the second series. Look at that.
Absolutely fascinating.
And it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Hello everyone. It's sorry I'm late. I was just looking for something and I can't find it. Because what I heard, I was talking to Anthony about East Chambray Hardman, and I have postcards of his, the original ones. Can't find them. Can't find them. And I'm fuming, absolutely fuming. You're very precious to me, them. There's a cracking one where you see young lads underneath the Docker's umbrella, as they call it, and you just see them standing there on one side here, and on the opposite side you see young lads in a straw bolter, and you can see the class, the working class to the upper classes, and it was a smashing photograph. The overhead railway, sick over there. But that's not the only one. There was a few others as well. I can't find them. It's looking so disappointed, Really. When things like that disappoint you. And as I was going through some stuff, I came across a photograph. Came across this. I was in a panto. I was in a panto up in Ormskirk years ago. So sick. Do you know what? I knew people would be coming on here talking about football, but I have to talk about, just for a few minutes. And it's a shame, young Callum. Leone out for 9 months. This is devastating. Yeah. He was one of the stars last night. I was made up with him. Anyone who watched the watch along heard me saying about him. I've never seen a cooler fella since Virgil van Dijk. Under pressure. I feel so sorry for the lad. But, the only compensation is that he's young. He'll come back strong. The likes of Wirtz and the likes of Virgil, they've had the same injuries, so they've come back. And look at Virgil, come on. So he should be good. And the other compensation is that Chiesa has taken his place in the Champions League squad. He should never have been out of it in the first place. We said that last night, didn't we? Johan. Good evening, Frank and legends. Hope everyone is well. Horrible news about Leone tearing his ACL. Hope it doesn't affect his progression. He was impressive last night. He was, Johan, he was very impressive, in all honesty. And Faster Tortoise, Cheeky Gee, big going in for January. Toscana. I'm gutted young Giovanni had a great game last night and now this. Yeah. Bella. Ciao Franco and everyone, says Bella. Hello, Bella. Buonasera, Franco and everyone. Hope you're all well, says Toscana. It's just one of those things, really. Because I was actually looking for something for Anthony, and I found it. And I thought, now I'll go and look for me postcards. Unless there's somewhere. I'm sick. I'm really sick that I hope I can find them. I haven't given them away, I know that. Too precious to me. Got them for years. When something like that happens, I'm not half deflated, just in case they're gone. Anyway, gonna bring on this fella. He's always sitting there moping and scratching his head and no man, like I can lip read, best lip reader ever. And I can, look at him like that. And he doesn't think I can lip read. He's calling me forever. And he'll come on and go, "Hello, Frank. How are you?" Oh, it's the gentleman here. Lovely man. My friend. And everybody else's friend, by the way. And there he is, Anthony. Hey, mate. I don't know where you are. There you are. There he is. There's the man.
Good evening. Good evening, my dear mate. And
Do you know what I was looking for you?
Yeah.
Do you want me to show you?
Yeah.
I told you they had it, didn't I?
You did?
Right.
Oh my God, yeah.
And do you know what's in this? Mr. Loveday's little outing.
Get away.
Yeah. And do you mind if I read, like, just to set the tone?
Please do, Frank. Please
Evelyn Waugh wrote this. It's a cracking short story. Small print, though. God blimey. But anyway, there they go. And it's Mr. Loveday's little outing. Think of the title.
Yeah.
Right? Think of the title. Excuse me a minute. Fucking hell. Do you know what? It's kind of coming here. Right. You will not find your father greatly changed, remarked Lady Moping, as the car turned into the gates of the county asylum. Will he be wearing a uniform? Asked Angela. No, dear, of course not. He is receiving the very best attention. It was Angela's first visit, and it was being made at her own suggestion. 10 years passed since the showery day in late summer when Lord Moping had been taken away. A day of confused but bitter memories for her. The day of Lady Moping's annual garden parties. Always bitter, confused that day. by the caprice of the weather, which, remaining clear and brilliant, with a promise until the arrival of the first guests, had suddenly blackened into a squall. So you see the opening.
Yeah.
You see the opening, and on the day that her husband, 10 years previous, was taken away
Yeah.
to the asylum, and the first guests came, and it was a beautiful sunny day. Then all of a sudden it changed into a black squall.
Stormy weather.
So it's a stormy story as it continues.
Oh, brilliant.
Cracking story. One of the best, you know. And the signal man's in here, everything.
Yeah, I read that
Loads.
tonight. I had watched it when they did a dramatisation of it a few years ago for BBC Christmas.
Yeah,
Used to do Christmas ghost stories,
yeah.
and but reading the book, wow! I finished it about 10 to midnight last night, really, and I'm glad I did. Because if I'd gone past 12 o'clock, I'd have said, no, I'll read it tomorrow.
Yeah, see, sometimes when you're reading something and you say, oh, I'll finish it off tomorrow, sometimes you don't.
This one I
It's
was
just left. It's just left.
it's his magic, isn't it? It's so descriptive.
Oh,
So the opening kind of paragraphs lead you to something a bit, you know, sit on the edge of the couch or whatever. Yeah.
well, do you know what? And I was looking at a few titles in this,
Yeah.
and I was thinking of you and me. I'll tell you what the title is, and it's by, believe it or not, H.G. Wells, right?
Ah,
And the title is The Country of the Blind. Remember Shakespeare?
I absolutely do. Yeah. I wonder if, you know,
Idiots governing the blind.
yeah, yeah,
It's incredible, you know. Again, the connections with every part of literature and
yes,
every part of what's happening today.
yes, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I was kind of saddened today. I've been on since we've been speaking, you know, and certainly the other night, I've been kind of on a mission. I've been reading a lot, and today I was catching up with what I didn't know about Oscar Wilde and his upbringing and his family and stuff. And um, what kind of saddened me, it got to the point where I was quite depressed reading sections of it because he was a peacock in a world of pigeons, small-minded, um, feeble people, and he did put the lights on in Victorian England, Ireland, and the continent. Well, what happened to him obviously is quite shocking. And I was more saddened that in the closing paragraphs, it said in 2019, he and hundreds of thousands of other homosexuals, writers, were pardoned. He never killed anyone. He never shot anyone. Didn't do anyone face-to-face harm. He upset a few people, but you and me do that every time we're out and about. And it was just, the way of the world, isn't it? And it's just felt quite cruel.
But it was like that, through the centuries as well.
Yes,
Everything was kept quiet. Uh, I tell you, especially through the privileged people, and I'm talking for centuries. I'm going back long before Wilde and
yeah,
lots of others. Because what you had, if you could open a book that would have been written, say, around 1650, let's just say 1650, and this is the end of Cromwell era, if you know what I mean. And you could imagine what he put through to these people. He just put the fear of God into everybody. But
yeah,
could you imagine a group of people who were like Oscar Wilde, if you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. There's been
Could you
fears.
imagine that?
Yeah,
But nothing gets mentioned about anything like that, unfortunately. As you said, you were upset, it depressed you, just reading about this great man. And he done nothing to nobody. He gave joy to people,
yeah,
like he gives joy today to
yeah,
people who go to theatre.
yeah,
And, you mentioned about descriptive writing. Um, and when you look at descriptive writing, there's nothing better than the great man himself, Dickens.
yeah.
But have you ever read A Picture of Dorian Gray?
Yeah, I read it years ago, but we Lainey and I got the chance to see Robert Powell, one of our finest actors,
Yes.
performing in the Liverpool Empire years ago now,
Yeah,
what 25 some years ago. Um, but during the performance, you could hear a pin drop. You know how big the Empire is, and we were kind of stuck up in the gods behind a pillar.
yeah.
So we were kind of watching like that, me on one side, Laney on the other. But wow, wow, fantastic.
That's what I mean about these great actors. I've seen Alan Rickman playing
Wow,
Hamlet at
oh,
St George's Hall, in the big
yeah,
hall, not the concert room, but the big hall. And I was just saying, sitting here, and there's Alan Rickman right there. And I'm looking at him, and his eyes are focused,
wow,
on his mother and his stepdad, because he knows that his stepdad murdered his dad.
yeah,
And the intensity of his acting, and everybody else, by the way, all the cast, fantastic. And I also seen Kenneth Branagh playing Hamlet, which I made up with. I only seen half of it because I
wow.
went for a walk during the intermission down at Stratford, and
Oh,
I went back to go in, and the doors just shut. Couldn't get in. Couldn't get in. They went, "No, that's it. You've got to stay." So I had to stay out until the end. It was
oh,
the final act. But it's one of those things, and but when you see these unbelievable, Robert Powell's a very fine actor, by the way, great stage actor. I think most actors, um, as Drew, our friend Drew,
yeah,
these lads who go on the stage, they're mostly, and they do films, they're great stage actors,
yeah.
and they can convert to the film or TV, whatever.
No, I think you're absolutely right, Frank. And it's like the old um, films, the classic films when you get Ralph Richardson and
Oh,
people like that, and they have a presence on film which you really see in kind of film actors. It's like foot in both worlds.
Yes,
Very compelling.
yes,
Yeah, can't take your eyes off them. Yeah.
no. And let's see what Bella says. Buonasera, Anthony.
Good evening, Bella. Hope you're good.
And Johan. Good evening, international artist, Mr. Brown.
Good evening, Mr. Kindness himself, Johan. Hope you're good.
And Tony, the mince pie man.
Oh,
Evening, Frankie and Anthony. A pint for me and a scotch for you.
that's brilliant. Good evening, Tony. Hope you're good, mate.
Toscana. Good evening, Anthony.
Good evening, Toscana. Hope you're well.
And lovely Toscana says, Buonasera, Bella l'Italia. Hope you're well. Just having a good chat with my auntie in Italia, in Italy. Lovely.
We'll give her
I'm
a
good, Toscana. How nice it is talking to family in Italy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is, isn't it? When you speak to someone away and you're talking to them. And Johan, hello, below there, the signal man was a brilliant read, Frank. Thank you for that recommendation.
Yeah.
Thank you, Johan. Thank you.
Cheers.
And they're all short stories, Johan. All short stories.
Yeah.
And if you can ever get a Christopher Dolly short story, I found another one as well. I've got three. I've got one for Bella, not Bella, ambidextrous.
Ah.
She said, yeah, there's one there, look. Short stories. And it's like there, actually. Because I was looking for it for you, this one. I
Yeah.
just show you. And and that's the other one.
Oh.
See, the great, if you're going away or anything, rather than take a novel and
Yeah.
the great to take away, because you can read a short story just lying on a beach or wherever
Absolutely.
you like.
Yeah. But I grew up loving short stories. I would read, my mum was a big fan of Agatha Christie and the heavier works by many, many people, which I would read, but I loved to dip in and out, and I would read them like by title. I'd say, wow, that sounds interesting. That's where
There's Agatha there, look.
Wow.
A Haunting in Venice.
Wonderful.
I love Agatha Christie. Like I love Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, me too. And I think I've mentioned it, we talked about it, but it was quite surprising to find that Stephen King is a absolute Agatha fan. He adores it. He thinks she's the finest craftsperson of intrigue, detective whodunit kind of novels, and he's based his last couple of works on her style, which I've not read his books yet. But
did you know that Agatha Christie wrote under another name as well?
Yeah, I'd heard it, but I can't remember the name.
A girl by the name of Mary Westmacott. I'll show you some.
Okay.
Absence in the Spring, Agatha Christie.
Yeah.
Writing as Mary Westmacott.
Wow. Wow. Is that, do you think they do that to kind of, because if you're Arthur Conan Doyle and you're writing about Sherlock Holmes, you're kind of boxed in, aren't you?
Yes,
So sometimes what they do, and he did it, I think, is they give up that character and they write something new, and people say, I don't like that. I want to go back to Sherlock, where some other writers change their name to see if they can write a good book that no one knows about them. They're not buying it because it's Frank Carlyle's new book or whatever. They're buying it because it's a good story, gets great reviews. So it's kind of like a painter and a musician changing their style.
that's right. I always remember. I'm going back. I must have been in my early 20s or something. I could have been in my teens. I don't know. Because I was always reading then. Because the fella who lived underneath us, in Jared Crescent, he always called me the odd bod, because I was odd from the other people, odd body, because
Yeah,
I was always reading and, whatever, and trying to write poetry. And he's a lovely fella. And he used to say to me, what you read? And I told him. Now, at the time, I showed him a book, and I forget the title. And I only ever read it once. And I'm sure it was written by Arthur Conan Doyle,
yeah,
because it was about like a detective, not like, I keep saying that, a detective, a sleuth, amateur sleuth. And he has a mate who was a doctor. But they went under different names. Now, I always remember the sleuth's name, the amateur detective, and his name was Arbuthnot. Arbuthnot. And I read it. It was Sherlock Holmes right through. And years later, obviously it's gone. I'll never ever try it. I'll just never think about the title again, because it's gone. It's a faded memory. I'll never be retrieved, unfortunately, from my mind. And I think it was Arthur Conan Doyle who
yeah,
wrote it.
yeah.
Definitely. It was, see, don't forget, back in the day as well, you couldn't plagiarise characters or you'd be sued to hell.
Yeah,
Do you see what I mean?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
years later, I was thinking of this. I said, it must have been him. It
Maybe
must have been Conan Doyle who wrote that story.
with that in mind, there's a really, really interesting. Um, there's a historian lady called Lucy Wordsley who tends to present her work on the BBC, and she writes about the royals and stuff. But she did an interesting piece last year, which was a 2 or 3 parter, and it was about Arthur Conan Doyle and his striving to kind of find a name for himself as an author. And then when he got there, when he got to be, the creator of Sherlock Holmes, which everyone loved, he wanted to get off that because figuratively, it was as if Sherlock Holmes was a bigger, real person than him. And he was like shrinking into nothingness. So he said, I've got to get rid of this. People are forgetting who I am, and they're thinking that he's He's the man. So that's when he devised his plot to kill Sherlock,
Yeah.
which backfired because
Yeah.
we, the public, said you can't do that.
No, you couldn't do that, and that's why we brought, as you know, we brought him back and made him miraculous. It shows you the strength of people. I always remember that stupid program called Dynasty, and Bobby got killed. I think it was Bobby, and
Yeah.
they brought him back a year later, and he was
Yeah.
getting a shower, and everything was a dream. And I said, they should never have done that. What they should have done, let that storyline for a year go on. And everything happened. And as people thinking that they were dead, his mother wouldn't allow anyone because to know about the real cause, because he never died. This is my would have been my ending, to be honest. Yeah, not ending, but revival of Bobby Ewan. And I said he should have been, as an accident, his mother could have just, like one day, gone to the hospital and he's come out of the coma. He was in hospital with the coma, through a coma. They're expecting him to die. She wouldn't tell her family. She just said that he was dead because she was expecting him to die. And, and then and she just told the family, apologised for not saying that he was in a coma. But they didn't want to upset everybody.
Yeah.
He would have been better off dead, as she thought. And I think that would have been a lot better rather than waking up, in a dream. Everything was a dream. What a load of bollocks that was.
Yeah. It's a con. Yeah. And it felt like a con.
Yes. It was. Of course it was. And Foster Tortoise tried to see Wilde's grave in Paris, but I got there too little. They were already closing the gaff as I was getting to Jim Morrison's grave. Oh.
Yeah, it's the same cemetery, isn't it? They've encased Wilde's tomb, which was constructed by an absolutely fantastic sculptor, Jacob Epstein, and they've had to put it behind glass now because of the number of people that visited.
It just shows you, the way stories come about. It's like me and that stupid Dynasty, I would have gave it that ending, whereas he was involved in an accident, he was in a coma. His mother, thought it would be best to tell the family that he died rather than see him with tubes and everything. And they were expecting him to die any day, but he didn't. And then he made a miraculous recovery, coming out of the coma.
Yeah.
And they phoned her up. She goes to hospitals, expecting him to be like dead. She would have just given him, if he would have been dead, a private burial without the family knowing, because they always thought that he died, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And he made a miraculous recovery coming out of the coma, and everything was all right. She went and told the family, and I think it would have been better than a fucking dream, to be honest.
Yeah.
Bad script writers.
Yes. Yeah.
And Johan says, in recent times, J.K. Rowling wrote crime fiction under the pen name Robert Galbraith to get away from the Harry Potter comparisons. I didn't know that. Thank you.
I can understand that. That's exactly what we're talking about. Yeah. Bobby Ewing. That was the character's name. I stepped out the shower and said, I had a funny dream.
It's stupid. And Toscana says to Bella, it's my mum's sister and she lives in Mirabella, Provincia, Avellino. I love speaking in Italian. That's nice.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
And Bella replies, it's lovely talking Italian. It's one of the great languages. You've got two very aggressive languages in Europe. And do you know what they are?
French and Italian.
No, they're not aggressive. French and Italian are very romantic. Io te amo, mi cara mia. Mi cara mia, io te amo.
Yeah.
Isn't that lovely?
That's easy for you to say. I honestly wish. I'm reading about our dearest and our greatest poets and writers who could all speak Italian and French, including Oscar Wilde, and he could translate. As many writers and poets did, and that became kind of a bit of an income for them when they're trying to get their stuff off the ground.
And now Johann says German and Polish.
Good true. Yeah.
Well, you got one right there, German, and the other one, believe it or not, is English.
Wow.
Very aggressive because we speak with a low German, what you call a low German tone. Whereas you see the likes of, what's his name, Hitler, when he's on the podium, screaming and shouting, Ich bin nicht eine Ausländer, ich bin Deutsch. Coming out with that, very aggressive.
Yeah.
And we're the same. We're the same because we can come out with that. I'm no foreigner, I'm English. And it sounds exactly the same. But I think Johann's, what he's saying Polish is because of the fella named Sikorski. And I think he's been looking at that Sikorski, He thanks the USA and he's married to her.
The aggression in that, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Toscana says to Bella, it is about the Italian language. My dad taught me to read Italian as well. And he'd have me reading books on Italian history and its artists like
Giotto.
Nothing about Leonardo, though, is there?
Well, he'd have been in there somewhere.
And Johann says, well, I got the list correct. I'll take that. English, Polish, the list.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's in everything. I just read out there Mr. Loveday's little outing, just a little like paragraph or whatever, not even a paragraph. And you can see it the way it changes from, a bright sunny day into a dark squall. And don't forget that her husband is being taken away to an asylum where he's been there for 10 years because Angela is his daughter. And she said, can I go and see my dad? And it's only what we think, when she said as well, will he be in uniform? And she said, of course not, because he comes from a privileged background, you see. It's really you honestly, Anthony, you will enjoy it.
I will. I know I will.
And I don't like Kindles. I'm being honest, but to hold, something in your hand and read it is the finest thing that you can do.
It is, Frank, and it's a connection. I love books, and Lainey's given me the ultimatum now. One book in, one's got to go. I, 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 I couldn't do that. I'd have to just say, someone else pick the one that's going then, because I can't. I can't.
No, I'd kick her head in if I were you. See the aggression there, the English aggression. Kick her head in.
But I love that. I mean, some of the books I've had for years, and they're battered. Just getting off and on buses and trains.
You won't throw that out, will you?
No, I won't. I won't.
Blimey. Anyway, Foster Tortoise says, I think German has got an undeserved reputation for being aggressive. I don't know what aggressive means in that context. Okay.
I think it's just the sound, guttural.
It's, very guttural. You've got the likes of as I said, the Italians, you've got the French, mon chéri. You've got and let's be honest. If I could sing in French, most probably I'd sing it brilliant. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Look at Charles Aznavour.
Yeah. Well,
maybe please.
yeah.
Yeah. Big hit for little Charlie.
Blew me away years ago. It must have been the early 80s or late 70s. And when we used to have good television, and you used to have Friday night, Saturday night entertainment programs, and they would have guests on, like Charles Aznavour, he was popular, and stuff like that. I saw a program, can't remember who was the host, but Sachi Distel.
Oh, Sachi, yeah.
And he played guitar first. Now, I didn't know he was a player, and it was just absolutely beautiful. And then the host said, will you do another, do something else? And he sang, and it was as you described, then it was just dreamlike. No, brilliant.
Oh, you're not going to believe this. When I was looking for that, for my postcards, I came across this. I came across that, and I thought it was a photograph, because everything is photographs I've got, and I mean everything. They're all photographs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything are photographs, and I thought that was just a photograph or a postcard. You see that?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. And honest to God, this is why I was late. I opened it. I said, "Oh, cheers!" And I opened it, and it was a postcard that was written to me and sent to me, and it said, "It's Tony Snell and Frank. Dear Tony and Frank, on Tuesday morning, on our way to the bus station, we passed Radio Merseyside just as you, Frank, we're coming out with a small group of people, and rightly or wrongly, we tagged along just for a few minutes, listening to the fascinating talks about our buildings, which we have passed for years without a second thought. We just couldn't tear ourselves away, and apologise for intruding, but must tell you, Frank, it was one of the best days of our lives, and we will never, ever forget it. At 5 p.m, we dragged ourselves away and went home to Waterdown and put a DVD on we bought. It's all back again. Wonderful. Thank you both again to Tony for introducing us to you on his Tuesday program, and you, Frank, pure genius. Love Joan and Ken Lunt. First time I read that just before. I thought it was just a postcard.
That's fantastic. Fantastic. I think there might have been a grammatical error in the beginning of it when the gentleman or the lady says, and you had a small group of people following you.
Yeah.
I've seen you be followed by a small group of anyone. It's big.
I remember saying to people, I was on with Tony. I said, "Listen, I'm going to do a walk." I said, "So if you want to meet me on the steps of, the bottom of the steps," I said, "in the square of the Catholic Cathedral, I'll be there, and I'll be there at 10:30." Now I was just expecting a few. There was well over 300, and I said, "I can't take it on." I said, "I'm sorry," and I had to abandon it, and I felt terrible. They were all following me.
Wow.
I said, "Listen," I said, "I can't do this. I'm sorry. I just thought a few people would show up." So they were, and anyway, when they were all following me right along Lime Street as well.
Wow.
But there was a few stragglers. There must have been about 30 or something like that, who never gave up. So I gave them a little tour around St. George's Hall and, the rest of the neoclassical buildings.
Yeah.
And Jail Street. They were made up.
Yeah. Well, I remember years ago, you were just about to go into St. George's Hall, and me and Lady came. We were planning something in there, whatever, but we came and you saw us and you just said, come on, get in quick. So we kind of sneaked in, followed you around. We did St. George's Hall. We ended up in, did Martin's Bank, and then, the most beautiful down the road.
Well, do you know what? We had our photograph taken in there. Me, you, Laney, and Connie. Val, Connie Lush.
Yeah.
And I've got the photograph somewhere here. It's a cracking little photograph.
Hey.
And Bella says, my mum and dad were sing always. Oh, right, always singing, and they are full of happiness. Italians are very romantic people.
Yeah.
Look at me.
Oh, Scousers.
Scouse Italians.
And Italians. And Irish.
Oh, the Irish, yeah. Will you be yourself a talking to?
Yeah.
Yes. That fella, that's Irish fella. Every time I see him. Hey, Frank. I said, oh, all right. I forget his name, Sean or Bernard or something like that. Will that be yourself I'm talking to? Yeah, it is Sean or Bernard or whatever. Yeah, it is me. Would you take the would you take it? See, language is. Do you ever remember when Kenny Dalglish first came to Liverpool?
Yeah, I remember hitting the papers and everything. Yeah. Massive big thing. £600,000.
Couldn't understand him.
No.
When he was giving an interview, no one could understand him.
Times have changed. Well, my dad's side of the family was from Scotland. So, but his dad's side were from um, western side, Oban, places like that, which are very gentle lilt. But me nan, my dad's mum's side, were all from Glasgow. That was like that's like Scouse with jet skis.
No, yeah, that's so. From Bella.
Yeah,
Franco, went to Central Library in Liverpool with my daughter today in William Brown Street. It's fantastic inside. Now, I don't live very far from there. You should have told me. I would have sent you my address, or Toscana would have sent it. And you could have paid me a visit. Very disappointed. I think people are scared to come to me, I don't know what they must think that I do. They must think that I've got some cellar or some loft. And when the people come, never to be seen again, they're all tied up in the loft or in the basement.
Yeah.
Very disappointed. Very. You come all the way to Liverpool and so the likes of I don't know where ambidextrous. I've got 2 books for it. I'll give you that as well if you want. I think Lainey will enjoy that. Agatha Christie wrote it, but under the pseudonym of Mary Westmacott.
No, that's brilliant. No, don't be giving it away if
No, because I've read it. I did it for me literature class.
No, I love
It's
it.
a good little story, actually.
Yeah.
It's a good little story, and where you can see it, look. It's a desert, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I couldn't get anything live, on my YouTube. So our Francine came down when she was there. She took me shopping yesterday. And I said, can you fix it? I said, I'll have to bring my telly back. I said, I can't get anything live because it came on, then buffered, and that was it. It just wouldn't go anywhere. It was terrible. Every live program.
Oh.
But the one in my bedroom, that's fine. So anyway, she has a go. I said, I don't want to be going in my bedroom and watching what I watch. Because I get the alternative news, you see.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I watch is, YouTube. So anyway, she fixed it, but it came like a different format. So today, I can't get anything on.
Wow.
Nothing at all. It just comes up and a little round thing keeps going around and it says there's an error.
That's a signal thing, isn't it? That's a.
And it's shocking. So we had to phone her at seat. I said, Francine, I can't get anything on. So she said, all right, I'll be down tomorrow. Put it right.
I hate that. I can no longer. I haven't got the patience to fix that. Our Lainey's good, or our Emily is great, or our Tom. So I'm sitting downstairs and I'll just roar upstairs. Can someone come and fix this effing TV? And most of the time, as you would, they profess not to hear. Sorry, Dad, didn't hear you. So I don't want to turn it off.
Well, that's me, I was just sitting down. Then I decided to watch a film on that Prime thing,
Yeah.
and two great stars in it. That was Gene Hackman and Tommy Lee Jones. So I'll have a look. They called the package it was. I had to turn it off because it was about like East and West Berlin, and it was having a go at the Russians.
Yeah.
You know, making Russia, the Soviets rather, into bad people, and I just went, oh, I've had enough of this. I can't stand this. So I had to turn it off. It's portraying. Funny enough, and now this is in the very, I don't know whether it was late 70s, early 80s, and they were even talking about Iran then. So the axis of evil, as I mentioned, it's always been there.
Yeah.
It's North Korea, Russia, China, and Iran. And it's wrong, to make other countries enemies of the West when they've done nothing wrong.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's crazy that that's not so much in literature. It's like you said about the cover then of Agatha Christie. It's set in the desert, Sahara or wherever it is. And there's so much literature, poets and everything who get the muse from Italy, from certainly from places Florence and stuff, and yet it's in film where we have a pop.
Yeah.
Other countries, China, like you said, Russia. No.
Yeah. Everything. You make enemies out of everyone. Christopher says, "Hey, Frank and Anthony, and everyone, like and subscribe."
Brilliant.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Christopher.
Yeah.
He's just got back from his holidays, in Tenerife. And he said, "I'm freezing."
Oh.
I'm freezing.
You would be freezing here now. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I'm a Mediterranean type person, mate.
Of course you are. Italy in the blood. It's all like red wine. Warms you up.
Yeah. Right. So when we do literature, I'm going to get hold of something. I thought Jason would have been there and threw us into it. I just want to see if I can get it. I just want to see if I can get it. And it's only a few lines, and it's absolutely brilliant. And this reminds me of Macbeth, Lazy Macbeth.
Okay.
It's only a few lines. It's a poem by Robert Browning, but I'm only going to read 4 lines. 4 lines, and it just reminds me of Lady Macbeth. Do you mind if it's only 4 lines I'm reading, not the whole of the poem.
Please do.
Now you can imagine this lady, this young girl, right? And she's in a ball. And where's the ball? She's in a Venetian ball. So she wears a mask. Right?
Yeah.
And she's being back-heeled. She's been back here by a fella, a duke, for a younger girl, you know. But she's only young though herself, right? And she says, "Now that I, tying thy glass mask slightly, may gaze through these faint smokes curling whitely, as thou pliest thy trade in this devil's smithy, which is the poison to poison hair, pretty." She's concocting, it's called a laboratory. So she's concocting a poison to give to the girl.
Wow.
And it just sets the scene of everything. It just sets the scene of everything. I love Browning, just like I love Blake. And when you see these wonderful poems and these wonderful poets, and they're all true stories, by the way. They're all true stories. And I'm just looking for another one. And I'm just wondering where it is.
It's that thing of the greatest works based on observations, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whether Dickens, Blake.
Do you know what? And do you know what it's called? It's called this one. What I wanted to only the opening, and it gives you an insight into what's going to happen. And it's called Porphyria's. Oh yeah, there it is. How about that? The rain set early in tonight. The sullen wind was soon awake. It tore the elm tops down for spite, and it did its worst to vex the lake. I listened with heart fit to break when glided in Porphyria straight. Now don't forget it's called Porphyria's lover.
Yeah.
And she's from the big mansion. He's the woodcutter.
Yeah.
And they're having an affair. And it's brilliant. Oh, it's brilliant. And that just gives you the opening, you know. The rain set early in tonight. The sullen wind was soon awake. It tore the elm tops down for spite and did its worst to vex the lake. It's a storm, isn't it? A storm is brewing. Then all of a sudden she walks in.
It gets darker, doesn't it?
Oh, yes.
You read a snippet of that, but on the opposite end, when we were on a few weeks ago, I think, yeah, very, very, the hairs on the back of your neck go.
Yeah.
With the realization.
Yeah. Yep. So you can imagine what happened to this young Porphyria.
Yeah.
You can imagine what happened to the girl. You can imagine what happened to the girl in the laboratory.
Yeah.
See, three of my favourite poems by Browning. The other one is called My Last Duchess. Think about the title, My Last Duchess. About a count, a noble count, who's been married several times. My last duchess. So when he gets fed up what do you think happens? You see? Brilliant. Love Browning. It's sorry to be a bit dark tonight, like.
Oh, that's what draws us in. It's like the signalman and those initial where he's talking about he's walking down these cold, damp, slippery steps, and at the bottom it feels cold. Um, it smells earthy. And I got what he was describing was a grave. You know, that's what I got from the descriptions,
Yeah.
and that's just like opening other pages. Brilliant. I couldn't put it down. I picked it up last night and started reading, and then, like I say, I was so glad I finished it before midnight.
You see, if I took photographs of this and sent you them out, it's very small writing. Everything in this particular book, it's all small. I've had it for donkey's years.
That's down to the publishers and
I've seen how
saving.
thick it is. It's very heavy as well. That's the other. It's very, very thick. Look at it. That's how thick it is.
What is the book? Is that purely Browning?
No,
No,
no.
all,
There's the
all of it.
Blake's in here. Everyone. Keats.
If you got Blake in there, if
Yeah,
you've got A Poison Tree,
yeah.
could you could you read that out, Frank?
No,
Okay,
I'm only joking. Of course I will.
that's all right. You know what? I find that grounding because we know emotionally we all go off on one, but the emotion of hatred is such a devastating to ourselves. It's like waving a loaded gun around,
Yes, yes.
and it's so harmful to ourselves to harbour that. And that poem is just like, wow.
It is a wow, honestly, Anthony. It is. Look, I've had this for many, many. Look, it's all battered, and I always take care of my books. Look at it.
But you can't pick them up and read them without them getting bent.
It's an anthology of everyone. I will read it. Can I just read out what our lads and girls have been saying? And Christopher says, when we mentioned about the weather in Tenerife, it was
Ah,
37 degrees because they had a Kalima. There you go. Is that a heat wave? Must be, mustn't it? 37. And he's come home here to this.
well, it's not hot here.
Oh, far from it. Oh, the lovely Bella says, sorry, Franco. No, never apologise to me. Next time you go to Liverpool, come and see me. Just come and see me.
Yeah.
If I would have been well enough and I knew that you were going, I would have been there for you to show you around. Because I loved that library myself. I would have showed you the Audubon book. Most probably she went in to see the Audubon book and didn't realise what she was actually looking at, Anthony. It's worth £53 million. It
That
could be gone up now by now.
probably has gone up, Frank. Yeah.
And David Cameron wanted it.
Yeah. Who died and made him God?
Well, he wanted to go around collecting artifacts from all around the major cities and open up some sort of a museum down in London and he wanted our book, the Audubon book. That was his top priority, by the way.
Cameron or Cecil.
Yeah, yeah. Toscana says to Bella, do you go to Liverpool often? I was supposed to go last week, but my dog wasn't well, so I had to cancel. Oh, yeah, Toscana was going to come and see me.
Wow.
Unfortunately, the dog was ill. And Johan says, when you recite like that, as it's meant to sound, I can understand why English is considered an aggressive language. Thank you. Thank you. And Bella says, sorry, Toscana. No, I don't go to Liverpool much. My daughter works there. She goes to the Central Library each night. So I just met her yesterday. Isn't that lovely?
That is
So
lovely.
she goes to the. I wondered. She must have, if she goes there every night, she must have showed her mother the Audubon book, because it's in a big glass case, unbreakable.
Yeah.
And it has to have this sort of temperature.
Is that in the Picton Library?
Yeah. It's in the Roscoe Library part of it.
Just walking in that room takes you right back in time, doesn't it?
Yes. I used to study there. Even as a child, when I used to bunk off school, I used to run in there and used to go to the gallery, the Walker, just run down a little, run in the library and pick up all these books about Napoleon, about Nelson. Unbelievable. That's what I used to do. Caesar, Julius Caesar. This is as a what? A 10, 11-year-old. I used to read. Dr. Benjamin. I didn't realise the song by Clifford T. Ward, Home Thoughts from Abroad, was a poem by Robert Browning, where he also mentions Keats and Wordsworth.
Brilliant.
See what we learn ourselves of these wonderful people.
Yes. And again, the joy for me is inspiration goes down the line.
It does, of course. And Michael says the beauty and benefit of literature and vocabulary is understated. Not only is reading good for the soul, one tends to perceive the world differently. Yes. And as Dr. Benjamin says, look what he says. Robert Browning, Keats, and Wordsworth.
Yeah.
Wordsworth. Oh, I just wish Jason was there. I would have asked him to give us a break. I really would. Did you know that Wilde wrote poetry as well, by the way? He wrote poetry.
Yeah. No, I did. In bits of it, my readings about him, he seemed to surprise himself that he could do it. But I know at one stage in his life where he became an editor, magazine editor, he didn't like the 9 to 5-ness about it, because it became mature.
What does you want me to read of the Sick Rose?
poisonous tree, a poison tree.
Okay, hang on. And yeah, he wrote one of the famous poems, and I've got to find it. I've got them here. See, I've got them here. And Tiger, Tiger, Burning Bright.
Yeah,
And loads of people say that. And he actually wrote that.
yeah,
He actually wrote the poem,
yeah.
Tiger.
If you're talking in terms of like an album track, that would have been his number one on it. Yeah, it's strange, really. I think I like the semi darkness of Poison Tree. I always like that idea that um, it goes against the myth that poetry is all rhyming and all nicely, and moon in June shines on the spoon and all, which a lot of people say poetry. Nah, don't read it. It it's kind of crucial. It's a backbone to expression, how we feel.
Yes. See, that Tiger, Tiger, the very first stanza, Tiger, Tiger, burning bright in the forests. Not forests, but forests where tigers roam. So, Tiger, Tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night. What immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? Where it squints like that as it's looking at its prey.
Yeah.
Just bear with me. I'm trying to find this bloody thing.
Oh, Frank, would you?
Oh, it's here. I've read it loads of times. The poison, the poison tree, isn't it?
Yeah.
See, he's done Songs of Innocence where everything was all lovey-dovey, but the experience, the other poems of experience on the same theme, it was reality rather than all the lovey-dovey things.
It's like us growing up, isn't it?
Yeah.
We start out as children, and then teenagers, young adults, and our eyes are wide open. We're discovering the world for the first time. We do the things that please us. We meet people, and then after a while, cynicism kicks in because we've seen things we don't like.
No.
We've seen things we don't agree with.
No.
And evil makes its appearance.
You see, there are two chimney sweepers, and they're very, very hard hitting because it's about little children, 4, 5, being sent out to clean chimneys. Now, if you can imagine what the chimneys were like in Victorian times.
Yeah.
Well, not Victorian times, really. You're talking Georgian times. And as it says here, when my mother died, I was very young, and my father told me while yet my tongue could scarcely cry, weep, weep, weep. So your chimneys I sweep, and in soot I sleep. Can't seem to find it. I've read it loads of times. Honestly.
I think the most powerful break that you've read to us, and I think everyone I shuddered at that was the black hearse is one of the lines, and again, the misfortune of being a young child at that time.
Can't find it. Cannot find it. The part I've read it.
No worries, we'll do it. We'll do it next. I'll find it, download it, and um, send it across. Or drop it off.
One of his great ones. One of his great ones was Divine Image. And Divine Image was a very small poem. Very small. And yet it gives you what? It gives you what it was like for the likes of us, the underprivileged.
Yeah.
Cruelty has a heart. No. Cruelty has a human heart, and jealousy a human face. Terror the human from divine, and secrecy the human dress. The human dress is forged iron, the human form a fiery forge, the human face a furnace sealed, the human heart its hungry gorge. Think about that. It's incredible. It's just absolutely incredible what that man wrote.
Yeah. That must have inspired Dickens when he wrote that chapter in Hard Times that you've read to us a few times.
Yeah.
Where he describes the furnaces and the machinery as a
Yeah.
beast.
They were all beasts. And like the train when he had an accident, he calls it a fiery monster. You know, with the steam coming out.
Yeah.
He said it was a devil.
Yeah.
Coming at me.
Yeah. Yeah. Which also inspired, in its turn, the signalman. Dickens was not fond
Signalman, yeah.
of trains.
Owen Lee. Even in Frank and Anthony and chat. Evening going.
Good evening, Owen.
And Bella says she did Franco, so she brought us to see the Audubon book.
Wow. Brilliant.
Made up with that, Bella. Absolutely. And she says she is obsessed with books. She can't put a book down without reading it. All she loves is history, especially about the kings and queens of England and the romantic novels. Kings and queens. That's all we ever got taught in school when we were mad little kids. Taught nothing else. You know, the kings and you know, we never ever got taught about Henry VIII bursting, you know, when he was in bed and how he died, you know, because he just exploded.
Yeah.
Exploded. Never heard about that, though. That wasn't taught in our schools.
No. I kind of think the King of America will go the same way.
Oh, do you know what? He's a fucking lunatic, I'm sorry.
Deranged.
Did you hear what he said today? Or yesterday?
Yesterday, yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ. He's encouraged. I don't know whether he's just saying it. I know he's walking away from Ukraine. But he wants a peace, a Nobel Peace. How can you have a Nobel? They started the war, fucking America. They started it all. They provoked.
Yeah, every war. I think it's a thing that, like a petulant child, if you say no, you can't have that cake, then trouble starts.
Here's a good one from Owen. Could you educate me, please, lads? Do poets have a style bit like a musical band have? Or can they cover lovey dovey all the way to, in a musical sense? Rock music. Hope this makes sense. Well, I've just read out something there. Do yourself a favour, Owen. Um, try and get you, try and whatever, download or whatever, Songs of Innocence and Experience by um, William Blake. That's all. And you'll see the innocence where he comes out. You know, it's all lovey dovey. It's all lovey dovey until you get the experience of these children. And it's amazing. It's amazing what he writes. It's amazing what he writes.
Yeah.
And it's hard hitting, actually. It really is hard hitting. The innocence, you know, where everything is nice, you know, the angels will come down and pick you up and take you away, you know, to these little chimney sweepers. But on that's on the innocent side. And on the experience side, nothing happens like that. Nothing at all. No angels coming down to pick you up and bring you away to heaven.
No.
So you see, you can't see the change in anything. It's like anything. It's like you've only got to look at. I mentioned Robert Browning and Porphyria's Lover and My Last Dutch Yes and The Laboratory. Try and read them. And you see how poets worked. Then you have, you know, oh, to be in England now that spring is here.
Yeah.
You know, so it changes the mood.
Yeah.
Poets have moods.
Yeah. But like Owen's asking there, it kind of is like bands.
Yeah.
In that you get poets who write from experience and write from the heart, and you get poets who were people pleasers and are writing to an audience, like Cliff Richard opposed to John Lennon.
Well, John was just an activist, wasn't he? He wanted to send out a message
Yeah.
of everything, you know. Happy Xmas war is over.
Yeah.
That's what he wished for.
Yeah.
You know, give peace a chance. All these songs are incredible.
That's like a Blake.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Benjamin says Wordsworth lived in Grasmere, where most of his best work was written. His best work, believe it or not, Dr. Benj, was written in Dove Cottage. Then he moved to Rydal Mount because he was made then, he poet laureate, and he moved up there and he hardly wrote anything. So it was Dove Cottage where his best work was written. And you're quite right. You're quite right. Wrote some great poems.
Yeah.
Wrote some great poems.
It's
His
funny what you
Alworth.
mentioned then again, and Owen brought it up. But I won't dwell on it, but the parallels between music. Music is kind of the modern day poetry, hits the masses. And there was a record, a track by David Byrne, the Talking Heads, in the 70s, and it was basically based on that theme that you just described of Wordsworth, and it was called Stay Hungry. So, an artist, a poet, a musician creates their greatest work when they're struggling, when they're against opposing things, they're against things. It's like, as we've always said, some of the greatest works is against adversity. But once you've made it and there's 16 million in the bank, you don't have to do anything. It it lessens.
Yeah, when I got my 15 million in, I just said, "Oh, that's it,"
That's
Don't think I'll do anything.
exactly what I was thinking. I mean, you bought the balloon for me and Jace, but I thank you for that. But
It shows you, doesn't it? It's only what you said, and you were spot on. People just stop. I'm talking about great artists.
yeah,
They just stop and they don't give the best work because they've got it all behind them. But I'm going back, not today, because today is greed. Today is
today,
greed. The more they have, the more they want.
yeah. Well,
And they forget about Paul McCartney, don't they? And his
yeah. Well,
philanthropy.
he's different, and he's still going, and he's still giving back.
Oh,
There are, you know, those that go against the grain, but it in the grand scheme of things, um, every artist, singer, writer is owned by their publishing house or their record company or their gallery chain. So they don't own their own work, and it's a different matter. I mean, obviously, the likes of Blake, and we've discussed in the past, and I look forward to us doing it again. There are individual people who say that is a good piece of work, Frank. No one else is going to touch it because they're all doing you know the fashionable stuff. But I want to put that out. I want to
yeah,
put that out. Someone takes a chance on you, and it goes out.
it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it
Yes,
takes
go on.
you know it. It happened to Keats, but possibly too late. In his life he didn't he didn't have that body of work which was highly acclaimed because a group of individual people, critics, snobs,
See,
who
don't
went,
forget that these lads as well, the likes of Keats, they were men of letters.
yeah,
And I'll raise you this out. I think it's one of the greatest of all. And he knew he was dying when he was in Rome. He knew that he wouldn't see his lovely girlfriend again. He was stuck in London. And he wrote her the last letter. Could you imagine her reading this after he passed on? I have two luxuries to brood over in my walks: your loveliness and the hour of my death. Oh, that I could have possession of them both in the same minute. Imagine that. What
yeah,
he was writing,
yeah,
dying.
he knew he was going.
Oh yeah, he knew. He's
He wrote a section of a letter, and because he had TB and he was coughing up blood, he said to his friend, "I know the colour of this blood. My time is not long," because he'd nursed his mum
yeah, and his brother.
or two brothers through the same thing, and he knew. And the girl you're describing was the girl he wanted to marry.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Sadly, she never got to hear immediately he passed.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Could you imagine when she actually read that letter
Wow,
after his passing?
would 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 rip her heart out.
Oh yeah,
Because the plan was, I'm getting some work published. I met some lovely people who were publishing my poems. Just give it 6 months, and once I start to earn a few bob, then we can get married. Which is true now of so many modern day Romeo and Juliets and the like. But um, well, our answer would be to the world: never put off. Certainly, never put off your feelings, your love.
no, never, never ever do. Never abandon them.
No,
Never ever. I've been through that, and regrets. It's like Sinatra, regrets I have a few, but then again, too few to mention. But the ones that he did regret would live with him for the rest of his life, like me.
yeah,
I've got, I haven't got loads of regrets, don't get me wrong, but the regrets that I have in that little box is so powerful to me, very powerful. And I always think about them, which is wrong. I try to, I try to be, you know, I try to block them out, but I can't. I'm like the elephant and the memory, and it keeps coming back. I could be watching something, and then all of a sudden something just passed by, in a film, on the news or anything, and it hits me, that memory, because it reminds me of a regret. You see,
yeah,
Johann, the corporatization of art, music, film, and literature is why modern versions of them are in such a sorry state. Abandon the mainstream and embrace independent artists.
is
So
it
right,
right? Exactly right.
brilliant.
Believe me, it's like that. So close. I was so close to signing a piece of paper, which would have sincerely caused me genuine harm, and Lainey and the kids. And I met. I was thinking not to sign it, and I met someone who came to the studio just as a guest. A friend had brought her in, and she didn't. We never had a conversation, and she looked at the work and she said, "Don't sign anything. You're signing your soul away." I said, "No, I won't." But that instilled in me now. See, yeah.
It,
So
it, it does. I'm sorry. Go on, Anthony.
no,
I'm sorry. I thought you finished.
I sent that check for £1 million back. You know, and here we are. Here we are today, happy. I don't owe anyone anything. I can work at whatever I want.
See, I think our people, if you leave a sort of a legacy, to be remembered by,
Yeah,
I think I think it's great. I really do. I really think it's great. That someone will remember, say, the likes of Anthony Brown, for example. Oh, yes, that's the fella I'm talking about in years to come. Wasn't that fella who did all those portraits about people in Liverpool and adopted Liverpoolians? And, do you see where I'm coming from? And
I,
I
I
think it's
do.
great. I really do. I think it's great.
Well, thank you for that, Frank. Well, and it's true with you. You've done a legacy of work.
And Michael says, Frank, you and Tony are working so well tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
You want to hear this at 12 o'clock at night when we're on the phone? We solve the problems of the world, then we wake up the next day and say, what were we talking about?
Exactly. What happened to the whales we tried to sort out last night?
Oh, I forgot to push the button.
And always says, thank you, Frank. The older I get, the more I'm aware. Is it aware? Awake?
Yeah, well, we never stop learning. Me certainly, I never. Certainly when I'm on with Frank the Man.
No, we learn. It's just like one of the lads before, And it's just like what Bella says, literature brings it to life. Yeah, where is it? Franco and Anthony, you can look back on history, but literature brings it to life. Thank you for those beautiful readings, so inspiring, that gives you insight how things were.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Bella. Because it hits the emotions.
It does hit the emotions because, I say, human beings are a funny sort of animal.
Yeah.
They're a funny sort of animal, and they've got emotions.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, you have evil people.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to see people get on, to be honest. See, they're what you call the greedy people. They want whatever you've got, they want.
Yeah. If there's money to be made, they want it. If you're a writer, you write great books, sign this contract, we'll look after you.
Yeah.
You will get next to nothing, they will get a lot. And that goes for everything.
It does go for everything. And when you look at life itself, as you know, I can go back centuries. I can go back to the Roman period as well, and it's incredible what man has achieved. And the very first time, you had the great Roman writers, the likes of Tacitus. He's one of my favourite writers. Suetonius, Dio, all these people, they were great writers. Some of them exaggerated about the wonderful Roman legions, but he didn't need to exaggerate. And even, when you go back to the Dark Ages, they're trying to take away now the Dark Ages and give it another title. But to me, it'll always be the Dark Ages, because that's when we plunged into darkness. That's when literature all stopped. And only for the monastic chronicles, the monks who were hiding, they were hiding. And they was writing these things that was going on. So you wouldn't have known anything about the monastic chronicles, only simply because of these monks who were in hiding. And I tell you, we've mentioned this fella on numerous occasions, Anthony, and we would know nothing. It's okay. We do know something about Liverpool, if you know what I mean. We do know something about Liverpool. But when you get say like a fella, you may anyone say the likes of Johan or Owen Lee or Michael or any of them, Bella, Tosca, any of them, Christopher went back, say like during the 15, 16, 1700s, 1800s, with a little iPhone taking pictures. It'll be remarkable because there's no pictures. There's never any pictures. Yet there was one man who had a pictorial, and we can go back. This is Liverpool. We can go back to that pictorial to see how it was. And that was none other by two herdsmen's father and son.
Yeah.
Both William Herdsman.
Yeah. And his daughter, who became an
Oh, his
artist.
daughter, yeah.
But I totally agree, Frank. And that is the beauty of history and literature and the illustration that goes with it.
Yeah.
Something simple is he wasn't writing reams and reams and reams about various parts of the city, but he would do a beautiful piece of artwork and he would say Dale Street during Reconstruction or something. And we're seeing what was there or what was never there. It is historic in a big way.
Yeah.
What a man he was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And as Johan says, glad you didn't sign a deal with the devil, Mr. Brown. No amount of money or fame is worth your soul.
Johan, you are exactly right. You are exactly right.
What a comment.
Yeah.
What a comment.
That's it. And obviously it gets to be an age thing as well. There's a lot of young artists and musicians who want to be like a Beatle. You're not. There's only one of these people in history, and what you end up doing is in a treadmill for a bunch of people who just want the money. Yes, that's very well, Frank. Yeah. Put it in a book, and then we'll count the money for you.
That's
You've
all.
I've had it, and we've not got it no more.
And Johan says, and you, Mr. Carlyle, I remember you told a story about the BBC producer telling you to lose that accent. As you told him to jog on. Well, it wasn't the BBC, it was Lord Leverhulme when I went up for me PhD. And he has one of those little yellow stickers on, my work. He said, I can't wait till it, because I did something about Dickens, Shakespeare and Dickens, and I was combining both the social and economic issues at the time. And he said, wonderful paper. He said, I'll be reading this tonight. He said, how do you feel now, doctor? And I said, I'll feel all right, great. And he pulled me on, whispered in my ear, lose that accent immediately. And I went. Now, our kid was filming me, when I was receiving it.
Yeah.
And he see me getting up, all smart. And he realised as I came down the steps, and he shot right out, because I just went right out, right at the back, right out, because I was sick. I thought, And I said, what's wrong? Told him. Anyway, the BBC producer, what it was the head of the BBC. I should have been doing for the Beeb. I did something for, excuse me, I did something for Johan Coast. I did something for Coast. And I did something about the 40 thieves that was working around the docks, these kids and stealing off everybody, stealing off ships, stealing off ladies and gentlemen. He was just wandering about and he was just stealing everything. Like Fagin's gang, for example, who became the catalyst for Fagin's gang, by the way. And it was with Neil Oliver. Neil Oliver was going to do some history wherever he was going to do, and they wanted me to do some history wherever they were going to send me. And he said, no, we can't have an accent like that. We've already got a Scottish accent, we don't want a Scouse accent. So I never got the thing.
Short-sighted, narrow-minded, bigoted.
It's the way it is.
Yeah, I know.
It's sad in a respect, because if people have an accent, it would be different now today. But I'm going back, a few years back.
You know what, Frank? I think sadly it wouldn't be any different today. I think it was that way what you went through. I think all the greats went through. I think John Keats went through when they used to write not about the quality of his poems, his work, but the fact that he was born a scruff in the back of a pub. What's that got to do with,
Yeah.
It's been that way. Because the masses, we're going through it now, present days, the masses, shiny, white, tall, rich people, if you're not one of them, then your book's not going to hit those shelves, your face is not going to hit the TV screens.
No. And if you look at Dickens, you go back to Dickens, and he said, I want to do it periodically because he knew, well, they wanted to do it periodically because they wanted to sell their little like magazines or whatever they were, the periodicals. So they said, just we like you to, the story, to go like let's say like 2 chapters, whatever they were, but we like you to leave it at how can I put this? Like hanging from a window, if you know what I mean, and until the next chapter, to see if you can climb back in the window and be safe.
Yeah.
You see, so, and that's the way he had to work until he just turned around and said, oh, I've had enough of this. Then he just wrote his novels and everybody bought them. But he always had to make say like Oliver Twist into he was just like born into a privileged background, a middle class background, because he believed everybody, all the Victorians believed that if you were middle class, you didn't need an education because it was already instilled there. It's like Oliver Twist. Oliver Twist was born in a workhouse. Yes, he had a wide range vocabulary. Think about it. And he spoke with the Queen's English. You see, he spoke very gently and nicely and whatever. And yet he was uneducated and he could read and write.
Yeah.
And yet he was uneducated.
Yeah.
There's no education in workhouses.
Best, wasn't it? He was playing the system. He was playing them. You know, I I I think people should read this book. I want people to read this book, but I know that unless I do a little gentle editing myself, people aren't going to read this book because he won't put it out. So he did, and are we all the better for it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael said, I've always spoken this way ever since I was a child, like us all. But, I never said anything. I just walked away. I just couldn't be bothered with these people. And Johan says, don't ever apologise to me. I got them mixed up. Let them stick to their bland culture. Nobody listens to them anymore. Their smugness deserves a downfall. That's the BBC.
Josie Johnson deserves a little slap as well.
Ozymandias, as you say, a poem that I do remember from school was Ozymandias by Percy Bysshe Shelley. If by Rudyard Kipling, those two have always stuck with me. Brilliant show again, gents. Thank you all. Ozymandias, Shelley, I've actually been into his museum.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the Spanish Steps, Owen,
Yeah.
to the left, at the bottom of the steps, to the left, Percy Bysshe Shelley lived, right at the bottom. And to the right, as you're looking, you had John Keats and his home right at the bottom of the steps.
Yeah.
And could you imagine? I've been in both the museums. I couldn't believe it. Where's me looking at the works of
in the middle of
Keats?
Yeah. The minute you told me about it, Frank, well, you told all of us about it, yeah. I just wanted to just sit in the middle, just to be there.
Incredible. It was incredible. And, yeah, I used to stand there. There's a great sculptor by the name of Bernini, and he's got there's a fountain of a little mad boat, like not capsized or anything, but sinking, and it's a fountain. And I was standing against, just by there, or sitting down, whatever, and I was looking over at the steps. That's all, the middle of the steps, and I was looking at one home, the other home. And the two converging to sit on those steps in conversation, both Shelley and Keats. You couldn't get any better than that.
No.
You couldn't get any better than that. Two young men.
Yeah. On the start of their journey, and not that certainly not John Keats. He didn't live to see how his respect was growing. Yeah. But I love that you put me on. Well, you put us all onto another one when you mentioned last week. On Monday, when we talked, you mentioned another author that wrote the first detective novel.
Moonstone.
Yeah. So there you go. When I did a little bit of reaching round, when Wilkie Collins came from a very cultured background. His father was an acclaimed artist. He grew up in his father's mother's house. Guests would be everyone from the pre-Raphaelites, artists, poets, writers. And when he met Charles Dickens, they just became instant friends.
Yes.
And Dickens would write um, screenplays, and Wilkie Collins would, and they'd edit them and perform them at Dickens's house. I was like, wow.
And you
That's
wouldn't believe that, would you?
No, you wouldn't. But that's the beauty of what we get into. The minute you dig a little bit more behind that poem or that novel, and you get into the lives of these people, and you see um, it's been forever in the. I hate the expression the arts because it's been hijacked by a bunch of pompous assholes. But effectively, you're a historian, I'm an artist. We're both in slightly different fields, but the same fields in that we appreciate totally what's gone on before us and we are inspired by it.
Yeah,
Um,
that's just said though, it's so easily. It's like today, when people can give you a label,
yeah,
and if you say something, oh, you're such a body, and they're just labels. It's only what you said before about the likes of the arts being hijacked just for the sake of saying, oh yeah, um, I understand that, but no matter what, I love all the cultures,
yeah,
different places. I really do.
and
I just want to say something here, and it's only to Owen Lee, and he mentions Rudyard Kipling, and Owen, Rudyard Kipling wrote the shortest poem ever, and it was the most hard-hitting poem ever written, and it's about not just a son who wanted to join the army in the First World War. And he was saying to his dad, because he suffered from terrible eyesight, myopia, and he was saying, Dad, get me in. Oh, Dad, generals, politicians, get me in, get me in. Because he wanted to go away, because don't forget Earl Grey, what he said. Um, It'll all be over by Christmas. Even Kaiser Wilhelm said, my troops will be home before the leaves fall off the trees. And this is why they were all going home, wanting to go over just to take a pop at the Germans. And the same as the Germans wanted to take a pop at the Allies. Because everyone thought that it'd be over by Christmas. So anyway, he had a word, and his son was drafted in to the army, but the army said, the MOD, as it was known there, well, it's known today, the Ministry of Defence, it was the War Office then, and they made them sign, not just Rudyard, but all dads who were sending their kids, 14 and 15. I want to go, Dad. A 14-year-old telling you he wants to go to war, and a 15-year-old. And they had to sign papers, giving permission, rather than, the army saying, well, we're recruiting them, we were bringing them in. No. So they had to sign this piece of paper. And the hard-hitting poem was, if any question why we died, tell them because our fathers lied. That's the most hard-hitting poem ever written about the First World War and kids and people with disabilities. The likes of Kipling's son. And he never ever got over that.
No.
He never ever got over his son dying, and he blamed himself. He should have stood his ground, as he said, and said no. Because what had happened, all this debris going up, and the whistle went to get back to the lines, and he gets up and he's running towards, as he thought, the lines, his lines, the British lines. And he wasn't. He went right towards the German lines and was shot dead. And he never ever forgave himself for that.
I read a snippet recently that it's only in modern years, like 2018 or something like that, where they identified, because they never found his body, where DNA specialists have identified his body was found. Yeah, the horrors of war and the propaganda that goes with it. Do your bit. It'll be over next week.
Sad. And as Ali the News says, good evening, all the way from Romania. Our friend Ali.
Good evening, Ali.
And as Owen says, hits home. You know, that particular little poem.
Yeah, it does, Owen. Yeah. Oh, blew me away when I first heard it.
And Johan says, like a spider's web, one string threads onto another, creating a web. We have grasped the magnitude of yet. Lee Collins and Dickens analogy by Mr. Brown.
Yeah. Yeah. They were brilliant, brilliant friends. And not only for Wilkie Collins, but Dickens did that for anyone that he met who was trying to get
Started.
on the ladder, get started. Yeah, he would give them advice.
Could you imagine a fellow by the name of Julius Brutus Booth? Julius Brutus Booth.
Yeah.
Obviously, Julius Brutus wasn't his real name because Julius after Caesar, Brutus.
Yeah.
Et tu, Brutus.
Power and might, isn't it?
Yeah. A Liverpool actor.
Yeah.
A Liverpool actor.
Thespian, darling. Yeah.
And he used to greet all his, fans in the, street and whatever. Mr. Booth, hello, my dear friends. Are you going to the theatre tonight? May I invite you and see a fine play? See the bard at work. The bard writes, and this bard acts. That's what he used to say to them. He said, yeah, all right then. She's like them there, Julius.
Yeah. Or singers in Class Hero. Yeah.
And Owen Lee says, is it true that World War One wiped out aristocratic bloodlines? It wiped out as one of the greatest poets ever. He's just written about everything. And you've done a wonderful portrait of him, Wilfred Owen. And he said, this war, I want to get this spot on. This war has wiped out the cream of British youth because 1 million lads died. 1 million. The cream of British youth. And what he was talking about as well with poets and writers, and even I'm not saying aristocratic, but you had these officers, French officers, whose it belonged to the aristocrats, and they were killed. They went over the top. One of the greatest things, horrible things, actually. I've got a picture of it there, but I'm not going to show you it now because I'm finishing. You see him, it's a picture, an actual picture. And you see one line of soldiers along there and two other lines coming down here. And right in the middle, you had a general on a horse and his adjutant the back of him on a horse. And he went to give them a pep talk. And he said, up to now, this regiment has not made a name for itself. But tomorrow you shall make a name for yourselves. If you're slightly wounded, make your own way back to base. Don't take up valuable ambulance service space. And if you're too serious wounded, crawl away to a shell hole and die. Cheerio, chaps. Good luck. And got off. Got it there somewhere. And the picture.
There you have it.
So you see, it's the way it is. It's the way it is.
If there's something you can do for me, then you're with us. If you can't, do one.
But they were fodder.
Yes. Yeah.
And the beautiful Bella say, Buonanotte, Franco and Anthony, and everyone. Have a beautiful night. Thank you for a great show once again, says
Brilliant.
the lovely
Thank
Bella.
you. That's lovely. Thank you.
Thank you, Bella. And love to your daughter, by the way, at the library.
Brilliant. Yeah.
And Michael says, stay confident, Tony.
I will do my best, Michael.
And Johan, how dystopian is that? Yet it all happened.
Yeah.
I think that's a great comment, actually, because it is dystopian.
I'm sure it happened in Vietnam.
Oh. And Owen says, good night, Bella. That's lovely. Thank you, Owen, for saying that to the beautiful Bella. And Faster Tortoise, spot on with this. First World War was basically imperialism defeating itself. It's like today. It comes around to defeat itself. Like what Blake said.
Yeah.
As the hapless soldier sighs as blood runs down palace walls, and the blackening church appalls. Incredible. Blake said that, 1794. And you go 100 or so years.
Yeah.
And you have the wonderful lad who we've just been talking about. When he said, what passing bells for these who die as cattle.
Yeah.
That's dystopian.
Lost his life 7 days before the end of the...
Exactly a week on the 4th of November. Wilfred Owen.
Yeah.
A good man.
Yeah.
Great poet.
Yeah. Teacher.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good night, Owen Lee, says lovely Bella. But I like that as well. First World War was basically imperialism defeating itself. And that's the tortoise that goes on today. It's going on. Imperialism is no more, especially the American imperialism. Because there's Trump talking to that fucking corrupt prick, Zelensky, and then at the same time, he's giving arms to, or selling arms to NATO. Now, don't forget, NATO is America, by the way. They are America. Selling arms to NATO so that they can do whatever they want to sell them on to the Europeans so they can do whatever they want. This is why he wants the Nobel Peace Prize. It's not me. Of course it's him. Of course it's him. Because his little imperial empire has fallen fast around his ears. Fast. And I can't wait for the dollarization. Which it won't happen in my time, but it'll happen in lots of your time.
The only award he deserves is a Jim will fix it for me.
I'm just sick of it. Really am. Have you enjoyed it? Oh, yeah, all right. Frank, Johan. Frank, the quote you just said from Voltaire, anyone who can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities. A few weeks ago, always stuck. Yes, that's right. Voltaire. It's what he said. And it goes on today. Johan, you know that it's going on today. If you believe in the absurdities. Because you are committing the atrocities. That's it. What do you think? Hang on. Trump changes his minds every bloody week. It's every day. Faster.
Dementia. Yeah.
It's every day. He talks to this fucking Kellogg, a fella named Kellogg. He has Zelensky in the Oval Office, and he's taking notice of him. He's a liar, a thief. He's worth a couple of billion. So where's he got a couple of billion from, Zelensky, within 3 years? Oh, Jesus. That's besides the homes he's bought. What do you think of the comments tonight?
Brilliant. Great. Really good. Yeah, loved it. Always do. Always love him, and it just take us in a, stop the bus here, we'll get off and talk about it. Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Because really, we didn't know what we were going to talk about, did we? A couple of things, like, we were telling you we were going to talk about Carlyle.
James William. Yeah.
And we never got around to do it. But we will talk about him next week, most probably.
Yeah,
it's got to be spoken about.
Yeah. I think it was a good, for me, I think it was great when you dropped the seed of, as a couple, read these.
Oh, yeah.
That's brilliant. Yeah. That's great.
I mean, Mr. Lovetay's little out. Wait till you read it.
Yeah, I'll get that. I'll track it down and get it. Or we'll,
What do you mean you can track it down and get it? I've got it here for you.
Right. I'll be over.
And bring that £1,000,000.
I spent a bit.
I'll sign for it. I'll sell me soul.
I spent a bit.
That's, it shows you, doesn't it? People do sell the souls.
They do. And they do get the 15 minutes of fame, as Andy Warhol said, and he got it from Shakespeare. Every man will have his moment on stage. Every man, woman will have their moment on stage, play their various parts, and then disappear into obscurity with your lack of money.
Yes.
It goes way, 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 way back to Dante. I think that concept of if you want to be someone, then you have to sell your soul to do it. And musically, it was adapted by the Afro-Americans in the blues days and Robert Johnson and the Myths. He went to the crossroads, sold his soul to the devil, and then he could play the guitar. It's prime bollocks.
Well, Johnny B. Good by the great Chuck Berry.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, look at Christopher say, like Frank and Anthony and everyone up the literature rents.
Yeah.
That's a cracker, that is. Up the literature. I just love it. I really love it. And Johan says, every half hour, Faster Tartars, he says something and that Pam Bondi comes out and clarifies a statements.
Yeah.
I was glad to, when he says, someone says, what if a MiG flies over, international, shoot it down. And Rubio came out and said, no, we won't be shooting any. So he's clashing. I really believe he's walking away from everything and he's telling the Europeans to carry on. He's never promised any money. He's never promised anything. And he's walking away. But he's still an unpredictable prick. And, there's little buttons there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I said, I'm expecting him to go the way of Henry VIII.
Yeah.
Just explode.
I noticed something tonight. While I was lying in bed, I can't get anything on me, my YouTube in the living room. So I had to go into in the bedroom, put it on, my YouTube that works in my bloody bedroom.
Yeah.
And he gave a talk at the UN. The UN is fucking ridiculous. Anyway, you see him walking with Melania, and she's in front of him. And they go to an escalator. But as he's walking over, he stooped. I've never noticed him like that before. He's actually stooped. And Owen says, the things I've learned just in tonight's show has enlightened me no end. Nothing better than hearing things firsthand. Lovely company. Thank you. No, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Owen. That's lovely. Lovely comment to Dr. Frank.
I just despair. You know how I despair of things, because remember when I said to you, Anthony, now this was private talk, you and I, when all this was kicking off, going back to 2004, I said, Anthony, I knew all about it then.
Yeah.
I just knew everything. And the overthrowing of a legitimate government that the Ukrainian people voted in by a huge majority. And they overthrew him because he favoured, trading with Russia. But the Americans didn't like that. Americans, not the Ukrainians. So they sorted out these, what you call the far-right lunatics, the Azovs, the Nazis. And they got them together, then they had the coup d'etat in 2014 and threw them out and overthrew the government and bang, they put in puppets. And I think his name was Poroshenko, the first fellow. What a fucking prick he was. And he said, you know, our children will be enjoying education sitting at their desks, their warm desk, while the children of the Donbass will be hiding in cellars. That's what he said. Children hiding in cellars. I don't know whether you're aware of this either, but do you know that lots and lots of children have gone missing? They've been trafficked.
I've heard.
And they were trying to blame the Russians, but they can't blame them anymore because fucking hell, they blew up the Russians about that. They was trying to blame them because they blamed them for everything, these red flags. And lots of organ, you know, what do you call it? Organ farming.
Yeah.
Organs. Fucking shocking what they're doing over there in Ukraine. That's how bad it is. And Christopher says, Trump is to truth whatever not to trophies. Happened a long time ago, but never again, says Christopher. Hi, Christopher. Nice Owen. And Owen says, is Ukraine, because it is, it's, what's that fucking name? Kazaria, is it? Something similar. But it was only an oblast, you know. And it wasn't until 1953 when Khrushchev said, I'll tell you what, yeah, let's make it. And he gave them Crimea. Because he really thought that everything could be all right. You know, it was part of the Soviet Union, you know, we'd be all right.
Yeah.
But little did they know that they didn't denazify the Soviets. They never denazified. If you've got an ideology, you'll always keep that ideology. Yeah. You'll always keep it. Go on.
It roots itself in areas. I mean, we every city, every country has got its own problems, but yeah, I totally get where that comes from.
Well, you've only got to look at Estonia, and Estonia are determined to get NATO, you know, to shoot down things because it's incredible what Estonia are trying to do. A little fucking country. Anyway, tiny country, by the way. And you've got those, but you get the likes of everywhere else, all around the Balkans. And when the Germans were going in, they were becoming Nazis. They were becoming Nazis, you know, because they were already in the ultra-right anyway. You know, this is the Second World War. And they were joining the Nazis. They had the uniforms, they had everything and whatever. And the woman who's becoming head of the MI6 next month, her granddad was known as the butcher of Ukraine. He kills hundreds of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of them. Not just Jews. So anyway, he was the butcher of Ukraine. They were all like that. Mates is their fucking family. They were all Nazis. You see them in uniform. Have a look at that fucking mate and you just see him like that. And he just looks like one. You've only got to put a fucking peacock hat on him.
Yeah.
And a couple of SS things there. Or, you know, a skull. He's honestly, every time I talk about them, go down a fucking rabbit hole, and it's annoying, and I don't sleep. Johan, Love this man. Puppet Petro Poroshenko, thank you, was Poroshenko. And that's what he said, you know, Johan. The most despicable thing. Because what he looked at, the Russian-speaking people, was subspecies. Just like the Gazans are being looked at today. Subspecies. And all literature, everything to do with the Russian culture was banned out of schools. Children, little mad kids who only knew the Russian language had to learn. Forced, not had to, forced to learn, coerced into learning Ukrainian, and they couldn't do it. And that's when the militia started to come in and say, well, fuck you, you know what I mean? You're not. And that's when the Civil War started, because people don't realise that there was a civil war with the militias of the oblasts. But they were the most powerful, you see, the Ukrainian army, because of what NATO did for them and trained them and everything. The British trained them, the stupid Americans, they can't fucking win a war anyway. They trained them. Everybody was training them, the French, everybody. So they were more powerful. They were the biggest army, believe it or not, in Europe at the time. And that's what happened. That's what happened. And as you know, that the bear was poked, and they said, well, fuck you, because Putin was asking the West, he was saying, listen, you've got to stop this, saying to Biden, you've got to stop this. This is genocide. Can you see it? Never stopped it. It's just like now, you know, they're telling them to stop in Gaza. It's genocide going on there.
Yeah.
They're not doing it. No, carry on. Get rid of them.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't see it.
No, like the three monkeys, isn't it? Hey, see no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil.
Yeah.
Thank you, Johan Poroshenko. Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania are all ex-Soviet enclaves acting shady now. Johan, they were Nazi. That's why they had the Soviet Union. That's why they went, fuck you, you're not going. Right down to Austria. And they said to us, well, you know where Adolf came from. And the Yanks and the Allies were saying, well, you know, leave Austria alone, just leave it neutral. And he said, okay. And the big agreement was signed about the neutrality of Austria, which is still prevalent today, that they will remain neutral. So when and that's why they drew the buffer, and he says, and they tried to denazify, but they didn't do it in Ukraine. They tried to denazify in Ukraine, by the way, but they were cowards. They were fucking hiding. And once that coup d'etat happened in 2014, they all come out of the woodwork. They crawled out from under the gutters and everything. We're here. They ended up killing 40 old people, burnt them alive in a union building in Odessa. And I knew all about that. It was wrong. And that's why I've always said, people, to you as well, I hated the things that I knew. I hate now, you know, just going back to what I know. You've only got to look at Venezuela. What's Venezuela done? You're getting all the propaganda against Maduro. Yeah. Maduro, that he's a drug fucking cartel fella. And people are believing it. He's killing our people. He blew up 3 boats of fishermen. Why didn't he just stop them? No one will ever know if they were fishermen or drug people bringing them in, the drugs into America. Come on, give us a break. Why didn't he just stop them? And they wouldn't. They just fucking blew them up. And it's a warning to anyone in a, it's like America, for example. They're saying, these are drug cartels. They're coming in with drugs to kill our people. Oh, jeez. They said it about Bashar Assad. They said it about Gaddafi. They said it about Saddam Hussein. They're saying when they killed him, I can't pronounce his name, unfortunately. The spiritual leader of Iran. And they wanted to kill the fit, like this one now. They went, don't fucking dare. Don't you dare. So there's a war looming with them. There's a war looming in the Pacific with Venezuela and Taiwan. Don't forget Taiwan. They're wanting to pick a fight. They love Chinese to go in and fucking take Taiwan because they could go in and just, well, I think they'd be fools to do that, to be honest. I'm sorry about tonight, people. Sorry about things the way it's ended. Things are getting tight here. Have you ever thought of moving to Russia? I always wanted to live in Italy. I had 2 jobs there. One in Messina, Sicily, and one in Lord Byron College in Rome. And I had to refuse the 2. I was going, I was gone, I was there. And I had to refuse the 2 of them because at the time I was married and fucking hell. They're one of the regrets I mentioned about before. Giorgio Maloney's right, and Oban and Fiso. What they've done. No more money to fucking Ukraine. They can fuck off. Look, Johan. And then you get people like those neighbours, absolutely uninformed, trying to act all knowledgeable in a conversation about Ukraine. Kudos for not getting charged with assault. They haven't a clue. Johan, you know that. They're not knowledgeable. They're absolutely thick. They haven't a clue. I'm just besides myself with all the nonsense propaganda and everything going on against certain countries, the axis of evil. And now you've got another one, Venezuela.
I know.
It's shocking, Anthony. It's shocking. Has a Venezuelan ever done anything to you? Only, give you coffee?
No.
Fucking hell. But we all know why, because Venezuela has more oil than Saudi Arabia. Yeah. They have gold mines. They have precious stone mines as well. That's why they want to go in there.
Yeah.
Take the resource. Trump admitted it went back a few years ago. He said, when that collapses, we'll get all that lovely oil and gold. That's what he said. He actually said it. You see him saying it, not AI or anything. It was him saying it. I'm just glad that I've got mates. Well, they're all fucking dead nearly, who knew nothing, still know nothing, and most probably, if some of them are alive, these are the same people who wanted me to bring Macbeth to the 21st birthday party.
Buy him a pint.
Mr. Macbeth, did you bring him? And he did want to come. Ah, shame. I like that. See, ignorance, as you know, Anthony, is bliss.
Can be bliss. Yeah. Yeah.
Toscana says, if any of you won millions on the lottery, which country would you move to? Well, you know my take on that.
Yeah. You'd say Italy. Yeah, you go. Yeah.
That Johan. Thank you, Frank, Anthony, legends for thank you, Frank, Anthony, and legends for another brilliant show. As you have a good night, everyone. See you, legends, tomorrow. That's if I do one. I might be due one tomorrow. I'm being honest. I'm beginning to be tired now. I really am. I'm just.
Well, take a night off. It's only Thursday. Tomorrow you got your Friday if you want to do your Friday.
Michael J says, Frank, stop. Okay. Just put it about us. Like you want. So, listen, can I, if you're still with us, now don't forget this is a literature show. Is there anyone that you'd like us, say, pick two out? Two great literature people to talk about next week, if you're still with us. Two literature people. You know, you can go back to Shakespeare, Cyril Tourneur, and, you know, the contemporaries of wonderful Shakespeare. If you want us to talk about some of them, Shakespeare himself. Yeah, look, got them already. See, the first two, Johan, Arthur Conan Doyle.
Yeah, brilliant.
Owen Lee, William Blake, please, lads.
Defo Owen. Yeah.
So those two.
Yeah.
The works. And Bella, more about Shakespeare. Well, he always comes into it when we talk about these.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely, that'll be our theme for next week.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Conan Doyle, Blake, and Shakes.
Yeah.
Three main topics. So that gives us something to chat about next week.
Yeah, two Williams and a Conan.
Yes. Yes. It's been great tonight. Thank you, Anthony.
I've enjoyed it, Frank. Thank you. Thank you for the tips on the books. I'm still reading through the others. And, you know, I just discover, I love if one bounces to another thing. And yeah.
Well, some of the writers in here, though, are fantastic. I have to change my glasses again. What I'm giving you.
Yeah.
You know.
The short stories.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic. You've got Dick O, obviously, Thomas Hardy, Joseph Conrad.
Yeah.
The Outpost of Progress. Good story, that. Rudyard Kipling.
Yeah.
H.G. Remember The Country of the Blind? Which resonates today, and Shakespeare going back to what he says.
I'll try and track that down. If we don't see you,
No, don't. I'm going to give you this.
okay.
Are we tracking it down?
I've got to be reading something every day.
Oh, I see. I forgot about
Otherwise, I'll end up just being a frigging painter.
Somerset Maugham,
Yeah,
James Joyce, Virginia Woolf,
yeah,
H. Lawrence,
yeah.
Catherine, Mansfield, Joyce Carey, Aldous Huxley, and V.S. Pritchard, The Fly in the Ointment, Evelyn Waugh, Graham Greene, Angus Wilson.
What a collection.
Absolutely. Freaking hell. I think I can't get over our lads and girls tonight. What was the name of the Songs of Innocence and Experience? Songs of Innocence and Experience, Owen. It's you can get one like it's only 10 because
Yeah.
they're only short poems, but they're brilliant.
You can buy it as an actual Owen, or you can download it on like a Kindle thing. It is available. Some stuff is a bit of a struggle to get hold of. But William Blake is there.
The lovely Bella. Definitely going now. Buonanotte. Good night, Bella. Good night, sweetheart. And Johan Sir Owen. Songs of it. Yeah, look, he's done it. Look, he's great, him. And he goes in, Johan.
Yeah, brilliant.
Thanks, Johan. Toscana. Buonanotte, Franco, Anthony, chatters. Another informative, interesting evening. My regret is not staying in Tuscany. Good job you're there, because I'd be over there with you, Toscana. You know, that's where I wanted to live, to be honest. Too old now to go anywhere.
Old. Behave.
Too old. And Johan Sue, Owen Lee, cheers. Good night, Owen. That's lovely, that from Johan. Yeah. And Owen says, that's my own work sorted. Now, I bet you they never, ever thought he's ever say that after leaving school or college or whatever. Homework.
No.
You thought you forgot all that behind. You left it all behind. And on that wonderful note, thank you, people, for keeping Anthony and myself company and lively.
Comments have been great, and thank you for your insight.
And we've got to thank Jason, haven't we?
Definitely. Yes.
But most importantly, who do we have to thank, Anthony?
We have to thank our Frank Carlyle sponsors, who are Gap Painting Services, the wonderful Andy Gamble and his lovely team, who, without them sponsoring the show, paying the airwaves, we wouldn't be able to present anything.
No.
Any subject on any night.
Yeah. And, you know, we still have to pay out of ourselves as well, but it's the way it is. And it's a big help from Gap Painting Services.
Yes.
But most importantly, who do we thank?
Our beautiful chatters.
There you go. There you go. Our wonderful chatters, because without them, there'd be no what?
There'd be no show. Just you and me on a park bench.
Getting into arguments.
Taking turns to go and get the teas.
Exactly. Oh, cheers, Anthony. It's great. Love to Laney. And
Thank you.
I
Really
might
great.
do something on Friday. And I'll have to do something Friday. I'll have to do this current affairs because of what's going on.
Yeah.
Let's hope everything is all right. Thanks, Anthony. See you later. I might give you a bell tomorrow, actually. Okay. Tomorrow afternoon, are you in?
I'm just here with the easel and the paints, Frank. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Might give you a ring tomorrow.
Yeah. That'd be great.
All right, mate. See you later. Thank you, everyone.
Frank, thank
And
you.
I'll see you Friday. Mille grazie. Ciao tutti.